Well, what's up, everybody? What's happening? It's Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist, founder, president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcome to another live. So today, hope y'all enjoying your Sunday. Hope you're ready for the whole week. If you're anything like me, the weekends sometimes just feel like another weekday. All depends on what I got to do, but most of the time, that's what it is. I got to work. Back on the grind again today, trying to get it, piece it all together. And I guess that's what I want to talk about in general. Is just that feeling of doing what you got to do, not necessarily what you want to do. That's one part of the topic. I guess the other part would be feeling a little bit underappreciated, unappreciated for what you contribute to the human experience, to life when you know you're talented and you got something to share it with everybody, and you just feel like who's seeing it, who's miss? Has anybody seeing this? Is anybody this whole social media thing makes you feel like that a lot. If you do, if you do this like with the intention of being an actual curator of content in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you know what I'm talking about. You know that feeling of, man, did they hear me? Did they hear me? I posted all this stuff. Man, I hope somebody's looking at that. I hope somebody gives a damn. I hope that's gonna give me the numbers I need. I hope they more than the numbers. I hope they really absorb the energy and the wisdom or whatever it is I had to share. Because I have something. I'm not doing this for just to be doing it. It's an outlet. And we just happen to live in a time where we can use technology the way we do and put out all of this information. These perspectives. Just share our thoughts, whatever. This is not to be taken for granted. Is anybody listening? Is anybody listening? So I posted something the other day, like I always post, but I posted something, and all of my stuff is important to me, of course. But this was a pitch for a new show concept based on the whole element we have on this kind of relationship goals in the art life. And so I shared that with a lot of friends of mine. It only got like 9 views, which disappointed me because I thought, damn, I thought it would at least hit 50 or so. You know what I mean? Because I got other videos to do. I got stuff that, I got shorts of just showing a cool toy or whatever that will get 50 some odd views, 30 something views. What's up? 35 just popped in the building. It's like, see, that's the thing about this algorithm. I don't never know what it's going to do. It's like, it'll go from it literally just went from 1 to 35 people. What's up, everybody? Everywhere, everybody in the world, what's happening? How you doing? If you're a subscriber, you can say hi. Only the subscribers can holler. So I want to hear from you if you are. Let me know where you at, what you're doing, how your day going. But as I was saying, I'm gonna stay on topic. If y'all want to see where I was going with this, go back to the very beginning when I posted, because I'm not gonna rewind. I'm just gonna keep going. So I was saying that I did this post about this relationship goals in the art life concept. I broke down the whole idea for the show, how I came up with it, why I wanted to do it, how I felt like as a creative, I know how hard it can be sometimes for artists to find people who appreciate what we do and what we have to do, living the art life. And therefore, it can be more challenging than it is for the average person who may not consider themselves a creative uh, in finding intimate relationships, because people are so damn, I mean, in America anyway, these days, people are so damn obsessed with everything about money, everything about, you know, everything's an object, everything's, people picking each other apart about clothes, finances, etc., whatever. And I was talking about the different dating shows, like the pop the balloon concept, and I gave a clip where I showed something from the main one that started it all. Shout out to Arlette and her husband and what they do. I don't know these people. I know that if I ever did meet them, they'd be professionals like myself and appreciate a compliment. So I love to shout them out whenever I mention that, because a lot of people don't know that that one is the one that started it. And for a while, I wasn't sure because I kept seeing so many imitations and other versions, and I'm like, huh? And to this day, I say to myself, man, I hope they eventually get a trademark on that thing, because all them other ones that are doing that need to be paying them, because that's their concept. and it took off. I mean, even the idea of having a studio with a white background, which is nothing new by no means, but just that look and how it triggers people to think, ooh, there's another one. You know, that's all psychological. The imitators know that, so they're not gonna try and come up with something totally original. They're just gonna put their face on it and put it out. You know what I mean? So and it's winning for a lot of those channels. They getting and no, I haven't seen one video like that that didn't hit at least 50,000 views. Most of them hit hundreds of thousands, and the best of them, thank goodness, the originator gets her just due. Are letting them, they get like millions on some of their videos, most of their videos. So I like to see that. I like to see people getting they just due and what they're worth. You know what I'm saying? But I was saying, the only thing I don't like about it, and it's not issue with the founders. It's just, it's the type of people and what they think like that come on the show. It's just how fickle and shallow folk can be. And I showed an example of that. Then I showed a clip of some of the imitators and all that other stuff, like the 21 verses and all that, which had been around probably before Pop the Balloon, to be honest, the 21 verses stuff. But that stuff's so ratchet and crazy. And I broke that down. And then I said, well, if you're tired of all of that and you want to see something different, I got something different. Here's my idea. And I break it down. If you ain't seen it yet, go watch the video. But then, like I say, within days, these videos, the folks I'm talking about who do all of that, uh, that stuff hits, millions, like I say, millions. And I'm going to take Arlette out the equation to make my point because, like I say, I respect her approach. She's professional. She's articulate. She ain't ratchet. You know what I'm saying? But like these youngsters that do the 21 stuff, they ratchet as hell. They ratchet as hell. And I ain't even mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Because they playing into the times. They know how to get their money. They doing what they do, whatever. What annoys me though is, and this is what my topic really was. I was saying, the frustrations of when you know you're doing something that's of a higher frequency, when you know you're trying to contribute something that's more meaningful and could actually teach people some valuable lessons while being entertaining, okay? Edutainment. That's what we focus on in ONYXCON. Edutainment. Right? We're gonna entertain, we're gonna also educate. You know. Sometimes I go light on the education element because I don't want it to seem too preachy or whatever, because I know how simple some people can be about that. And with certain things, like when I'm playing my video games, I just be playing most of the time. Every now and then I'll drop some knowledge up in there while I'm playing. I'll be like, hey, did you know that what you're looking at is a result of this, that, and the other? And I guarantee you they got an influence for the way that character looks because of this culture and this motif and this fashion tradition and this. Da, da, da. I drop it here and there. I just sprinkle it in because I know most people just want to sit and watch you play the game. They don't care. But I also know that if they do hear something outside the ordinary than just the playing of the game, they're gonna say, "Oh, wait a minute, hold up." He said, "What? Oh, let me look that up and be sure." Okay, starts the process of learning. Now you're gonna check the facts. You're gonna find the facts. You're gonna find more facts than even what I gave, and you're gonna say, "I'll be damned, that's some real stuff." Wow, wow, and you grow. Put another wrinkle in your brain. If you don't know what that means, look that up. You need to be putting wrinkles on your brain. You know. So that's what time it is. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I want to be about that all the time. And it's funny, even as I speak right now, right? There's one person left watching. What did I say minutes ago? 35 people was in the building. 35 people were in the building, right? Only one is left. Got 2 likes. Somebody had something to do. They dipped out. They showed some love and they dipped out. That's cool. But 35 people were in the building. Okay, now it's up to 3. And for all of what I'm saying, probably because it makes too much sense, probably because we got some trolls on here as usual, probably because you just got some numbskull people who don't like to think, they get offended by hearing something that sounds intelligent, something that sounding like it's trying to actually make me think about something and contemplate something. And, oh, wait a minute, I got to stop and actually use my brain. I can't just keep scrolling. I can't just keep swiping. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't like that. They out of here. They scared. They running. They run. 35 people and only 2 left. They scared, y'all. That's what we dealing with. So I'm never surprised. Sometimes, at least, I'm not surprised when I get some of the numbers I get for certain content that we deliver. Because I noticed whenever I look back at the numbers of whatever made the most numbers, I know why. It ain't no mystery to me. You know, my top videos of all time on this channel, and I always knew this was a formula, so I use it. And all of this stuff I'm about to say is stuff I do enjoy, so it's not untrue to who I am and what my brand is and what I'm doing with ONYXCON. It's just, it's still very telling though on how I have other stuff that doesn't reach these same kind of numbers. And to me, it can be a little more in depth, so to speak. And then there's other stuff like it, but for some reason the algorithm doesn't point to that. It'll point to this other more shallow, fun, silly, heartwarming, sexual stuff that I have here on the channel before it'll point to anything else. Violent, whatever, you know, sex, violence, and cute shit. I'm just gonna be real with you. Sex, violence, and cute shit. That is social media. I challenge you to put anything that's popular into any one of those categories. I guarantee you it fits. Sex, you know, that goes with any and everything. It ain't gotta be the act itself. It's about it's the innuendo. It's the idea of sexiness. It's the comeliness of a sexy woman, you know, a handsome guy, a well-built body, a fit body, whatever shape you like. You might like big girls. You might like big whatever. You never know what people like, but I'm just saying bodies. You just say bodies. Bodies and the innuendo of bodies being interlocked or attracting other bodies fits in the sex category, right? Cute stuff. Cute animals, cute kids, silly stuff, funny stuff, cute stuff. Always wins. My number one video to date was what I call Rich Squirrel crossing the street in a neighborhood where he ain't worried about getting hit by a car. He don't run. Because this neighborhood too rich. We don't run over here. You better stop for me when I'm crossing the street. And this really happened. It was a real moment. I took advantage of the moment. I got the video of it. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny. I knew when I posted it, it was funny. I never thought it would have become my highest numbered video of all time out of years and years of content that I've dropped here. A squirrel running across the street has beat fishing videos, travel vlogs, in-depth analytical videos where I'm talking to legends. I'm talking about scholars, friends of mine in the collegiate world, uh, movie reviews, gaming content by the eons, just constant gaming. I mean, anytime I cut the system on, I usually go live. I want it to be out there because I can get some numbers off it, even if it's just a few views. You know what I'm saying? And okay, somebody saying hi, what's up? But I don't understand your question. I don't understand your question. It's not written in clear English, so I don't understand what you're saying. But anyway, appreciate the love. What's up? Anyway, so my point is that thing got 11,000, I think 300 or something views to date. Still counting and counting. I'm very proud of it. One day that squirrel video, every time I see a squirrel, I get happy and I grin. Because I said, boy, y'all help me out. I appreciate you, squirrels. And I really do genuinely like squirrels as animals. I mean, growing up in the South, you can't help but like or know about squirrels if you don't like them. I like them because I know about them, and I think squirrels are cute. They're hilarious, unless they're in your attic, in your house, bumping around and causing mischief and eating up your wires and stuff like that that they do. That's when it's hell. But other than that, squirrels cool with me. But so I'm not mad that the video got numbers. I wish that other videos had similar numbers. You know what I'm saying? A person is asking how many subscribers you have. All you gotta do is go to the front page, bro. You can look. It's out there. But so no, it's like the point is to get the kind of energy that we put into these videos. You know what I'm saying? Okay. To get the kind of energy we put into these videos reciprocated, you know, you just want to see the numbers reflect that energy. You don't want to, and it's so many people. Now, mind you, we get great numbers when you really look at the real number. I'm talking about like who's really watching on videos that have numbers. People watch, but they don't subscribe. That's the problem. And they even return. The craziest thing is when you see the returning number of people who've been to your channel before and they're coming back, but still ain't subscribed. It's like, what's the psychological imbalance that people have that they won't take a second, because it literally takes a second to say, yo, I enjoy this. Before I dip up out of here, let me make sure I subscribe. Let me make sure I'm official. Let me make sure I stay in touch with this, because if I liked it once, I don't want to be saying, oh, damn, the next day, what was that channel that had that cool stuff I was liking? Oh, man, I can't even remember. Ani what? Oh, it was something, Onyx something. Oh, snap, I can't even remember. Why do that to yourself? Just go ahead and hit the button. Go ahead and subscribe. As soon as you know you love it, keep rocking with us. It's simple. It's simple. So that gets frustrating. That gets damn frustrating. Other kind of frustration is the fact that you got folks who are doing similar stuff to what you're doing, and like I say, their numbers are like astronomical. You look at how long they've been doing it. They've been doing it for less time than you, and then you start saying, "Well, dang, this is why people think that some of these apps are rigged and that algorithms strategically against certain people and not everybody else." And because like, how is it that this person's doing pretty much the same thing you're doing, in one way or another? But my stuff is unique enough. But just for example, like, okay, when I do the videos about, what I call flip throughs, which consist of going in stores, showing objects that are cool. When I say object, because it could be anything, literally, but it's always typically toys, comic books, um, pop cultural stuff, fashion, okay, shoes, sneakers, you know what I'm saying, clothing in general, accessories, whatever. I've seen other channels that do. Oh man, I swear, y'all. Hey, what's up? Sorry, y'all. It got cut off. It got cut off. But what's up? All right. So as I was saying, to continue as I was saying, I was talking about just various levels of disappointment when you're trying to reach a goal and when you see that you're not getting, you get numbers, but you're not getting the exact numbers you need, or the numbers aren't being reciprocal of the energy you're putting in, and how that could be a reflection of other things just in life in general, and how I'm not a psychologist, but I know a lot about what that can do to your mind, and I know how challenging it can be and how disappointing it can be constantly to think you've put out something that people are going to appreciate and they don't give it the right reaction, and then something else that you just do flippantly and just ain't put a lot of thought into it at all, and that's the one that blows up. That's kind of how it was with those videos I was talking about. If you're just coming in, you got to go all the way back to the beginning when I post this to understand what I'm talking about. Because, as I said earlier, I'm not going. I sometimes edit myself while I'm doing a live, and I said that's frustrating too. I'm tired of doing that. It's exhausting. I'm just gonna speak. Anybody want to really know what I was talking about can go all the way back to the very beginning when I posted and see exactly what I was talking about. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep speaking. I'm gonna just drop what I gotta drop. So, it can be a thing where you do all of this work, right? And you see people who ain't done half of what you're doing getting ahead. That's some frustrating shit. That's some really, like, wait a minute, hold up. Why is that working when I was told that this always worked? And that's the other thing, when you start realizing that some of the things you've been told are just not true. Things you were told about life, things that when I was coming up anyway. I can't speak for this new generation. I'm of my own. All right. Wow. We're gonna finish this conversation, y'all. We're gonna finish this conversation. If you're new to the channel, this is how it rolls here. I do it as I go. I had to break it up into pieces, but it'll all come together in the end. It'll be one big presentation. So I'm gonna get to an example that I wanted to use to make my biggest point about all of this, right? I guess the general topic is just like how to keep going even when you feel like you're a minority as an artist, you're a minority as a thinker, you're one of the only ones that thinks that you're a true unicorn. You know what I'm saying? You're one of the only people thinking how you thinking. There's other people like you, but y'all rare. It's hard to find each other. You know what I'm saying? And then you're in a world where popular culture rules. So whatever's popular got to fit into what the masses relate. And the only reason they relate is because they've been through similar experiences somehow. Something about your experience got to be able to relate. That's how people, that's why we like each other or don't like each other or whatever, right? So I get the reasons why, but it's no less frustrating when you start realizing how different you really are. And that's why it's harder for you to get these numbers that you see other people get, to get the respect that you see other people get, to get a lot of things. And I'm gonna break them down per thing of what I know is the reason, right? So something that's always gotten under my skin as I've gotten older has been watching people of my hip hop generation, because I was born into hip hop, okay? Hip hop is 50 years old, they say. Well, I'm damn near that old, okay? All right? So I was born into hip hop as a cultural system, all right? I don't say for the culture here at ONYXCON. We say for the cultures, because there's no one way to do hip hop. So even me saying that, even me with my phrase about the cultures and it's plural, and I'm making myself, I'm a sore thumb. I'm sticking out big time, because most people nowadays just, hey, the phrase is for the culture, for the culture. You know, the culture did this, the culture did that. What we gonna do for the culture? And if they understand the culture and the culture, if you're not speaking this the culture BS, because it's bullshit, that's all it is to me. It's not true. It's not true. If it were true, then there would be more unification. If it were true, there would be a complete systematic governance of its own, because you would have laws that everyone would abide by culturally. You know, the real truth of hip hop, what the true hip hop is about: peace, knowledge of self, having fun, all those original goals of hip hop. It would be no violence. There would be no rappers dying from killings, and there would be no crazy, argumentative, ratchet type stuff going. All this ratchet culture, that wouldn't exist if there were truly one culture. It wouldn't exist, y'all. It wouldn't exist because in a true culture, if it were really one, just one, not the many that it is, which is why I say for the cultures, and things intersect where they intersect, but that don't mean that there isn't individualism. That don't mean there isn't separation of thought. That don't mean that there's not boundaries. That don't mean that there's not limitations on what each individual or group of individuals will do and abide by and call it a way of living. It's just the way human beings really are. So I'm not with that. And I don't think it's healthy to pretend that that's how it is. It does us a disservice over time. No one can see it till generations later. That's the other great thing about living long enough to see things change. You start realizing, oh, okay, so damn. You know how they say, the more things change, the more they say to change, the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's the phrase. It don't have to be. It's just that people don't want to really lock down to what it's going to take for certain things to change. Stuff does change. It's just that for some people, the amount of change is not enough for it to make a big ass difference in where it needs to make differences and make things better. So I'm gonna get back to my point of my frustration when I talk about being in hip hop culture and being born into it. Like I was talking about how with these dating shows, you know, the ratchet stuff is winning. Why? Because that's one of the parts of modern hip hop culture. I don't even consider it true hip hop. It's just it's hip hop gone wild. You know what I'm saying? It's when hip hop don't care no more and just do anything. And that's how these, a lot of these young folk act. And that makes numbers because that's how they can relate. It's popular culture. If certain people, if everybody's birds of a feather can flock together, if a whole generation of kids don't have father figures, or if they got father figures but they're poor father figures, they barely even got good mother figures, then yeah, they relate. So bad behavior is a norm for them because whether they came from a ghetto or a wealthy neighborhood, it don't matter because everybody was acting stupid together. Everybody was wilding out together in a similar way. Not completely the same, But similar enough, I'll give you an example in Atlanta. And if you ain't from Atlanta and never been to Atlanta, you're not going to completely understand, but you might be able to translate it into your neck of the woods and still make sense of what I'm going to say. If you're in the city of Atlanta right now, okay, and the school systems and everything, it's a hard time. It's rough, it's wild, it's unpredictable. It's not to say there aren't any good kids, any good schools, any good teachers. Of course there are. I'm going to say that again. Of course there are. But the general attitude of all that ratchetness I was talking about is a norm. Where I went to high school, Benjamin Elijah Mays High School, okay? Not just Mays, I would say Mays, but nah, in a time we need to say the whole name so people can remember. These schools are named after actual people who did amazing things. Dr. Mays, okay? But I went to Mays High School, same high school that produced Atlanta's current mayor. Shout out to him, because I think he's a great mayor. He stepped into a hell of a wildfire of a city at a time where my hat is off to him for any of the progress he's been able to make, because it's so damn hard to patch up something that was already broken when you stepped into office. That's just how that goes. But anyway, that school, what it used to be the creme de la creme in Atlanta. You can ask anybody who knows Atlanta history for real, they're gonna tell you, oh, Mays was the truth. Mays was the one. Mays was the great hope. It was the definition of black excellence. We talking about a 99.9. All right. As we continue, and so I was saying, this is gonna have a lot of breaks in it, y'all, but we're gonna work it out. We're gonna keep it flowing until I get this thought out. All that school has changed so much, going from one of the top schools to now. I don't know what their record is now. I mean, they're not the worst, but they're far from what they were. They're far from what the legacy was when I was there. And I can sadly assure myself that most of the kids coming out of that institution now, few of them would know even who Dr. Mays was. And that's atrocious, because when I was there, you had to know. It was one of those things. You might get stopped any day in the hallways in the first, well, they didn't do that as much by the time we got there, but I heard that's how it was for the first few classes of Mays. But the teachers, the principal, they would stop you in the hallway and you had to give a quote of Dr. Mays and know it. Just any one of them, because they had them all over the school. And they were meant to be affirmations, things for you to live by and aspire to be greater. Great affirmations. And so, you know, a lot of the folks who came out of those earlier classes, the very first classes, like I think Mays opened in like late 80s or mid 80s, somewhere in there. And they had to do that. By the time we got there, we didn't have to do that, but we still there was a pamphlet of quotable quotes that every kid got. You at least got that, you know what I'm saying? And every day when you went through the halls, you saw that. You knew this was expected of you. Greatness is expected of you. It wasn't just, I'm just in school. No. Greatness is expected of you. This was the way it was, okay? So that's a far cry from what I know it is like nowadays. You know, little to nothing has any sacred value anymore. People don't put any value and dignity and things of that nature into stuff hardly anymore. Some people do. Folks like with what I got with ONYXCON, I'm gonna always stand on something great, period. ONYXCON was founded in greatness, we're gonna remain there. But I'm saying I know that a lot of stuff isn't. And I know that a lot of stuff didn't come from what I'm talking about, so how could it? And there ergo the problem and the frustration when you see what's winning. Because you start to realize, oh, okay, so a lot of what is considered failure, or let's just say low frequency energy or attitude or perspective on things, whatever's coming from a low frequency mind state reflects low frequency activities, things that actually happen to people. You know what I'm saying? If people come from broken homes, if people come from less education, if people come from drugs, gangs, violence all the time, all kind of abuse towards women and children and things of this nature, if that is a norm for some people, then it's going to be damn hard for anyone who didn't come from that or can't relate to that at all to try to get them to wake up and realize there's another reality, because that's all they ever saw. It's like, how you gonna tell me there's something else? And then it's gonna also be hard to get them to see anything different when once, if they are lucky enough to get out and travel the world, they see, oh, a lot of other places in the world have the same problems. Different culture, different way about it, but same old mess, okay? So when people can relate across the globe to despair, and when we know that the whole concept of have and have-nots favors less haves, okay? The haves are the minority. The richest of the rich are the minority. Okay, and then you got everybody else who's struggling in strife trying to figure it out, whether they're at the very bottom or somewhere in the middle, but they can maintain, but it's still a struggle. It's still a constant juggling of bills and, oh man, can I pay this? I got to rob Peter to pay Paul? All of that type of mentality, right? That tends to be more universal than every day is a holiday and I'm so rich I don't ever think about money. I just do whatever I want. And there are those who do that even, who still came from the other categories. As a matter of fact, most did, because the reality of wealth and the history of the concept of wealth is that wealth only came about once people created systems of hierarchy. Original human beings didn't have systems of hierarchy. It was unification for reliance. We relied on each other because we had to survive as a unit. We were one group, as a family, as a tribe, as a community. That was it. All we got is us. If you don't go milk the cows, the whole tribe don't have milk. If you don't go bring in the cows, we might lose them to a predator. If you don't go fishing today, we ain't gonna have no fish. If you don't go to the fields, we ain't gonna have no vegetables, no rice, no potato, whatever it is. Okay, whatever part of the world you in, no plantain. Okay, speak to me gente. Okay, because I love plantain. All right, I feel like I should have been born in the Caribbean as much as I love plátanos. I should have been born somewhere in Latin America because I feel Latin at heart with the way I eat sometimes. I love a lot of Latin food and I love plátanos. So there would be no plantain if then nobody go harvest them. No one went out to the fields with the machete and come off and got them prepared or whatever. So I'm saying everybody had a job, everybody did their job. Everybody understood we gotta rely on each other. At the point we started creating bigger communities and people started warring with each other over territories, and then the concept of kingdoms and folks having the rulership and all, that to me is always going to be the beginning of the end, because it was the beginning of everything great, but also the beginning of everything horrible about what it is to be human, because so many people get so caught up in all of that they forget that at the end of the day, it's all that other stuff I just said. No matter what, if all falls apart, all you're going to have left is, can you survive? Survival skills and relying on, and the ability to rely on other people to survive. Now, we're so far from that with all this technology and the way we are now and the way the economic systems and everything are that, well, quite frankly, we're far from it, but we're never that far. I always say, all it takes is lights out and you'll see how quick we're right there. All we need is enough natural disasters and other stuff, and we are right there. It ain't far. But because of human ego and, again, preparation and stuff, and the systems that are in place right now, not necessarily for really making sure everybody's okay, but to tend their fields, so to speak. Governments don't want to lose their people, so they create enough stuff to keep everything intact, even if there were enough disasters to wipe out a certain number. They got contingency plans for everything. For everything. We saw that with what we went through years ago, and that's all I'm gonna say. Look how quickly, psychologically, they've convinced damn near the whole world, hey, we're back now, everything's back to norm. It's a new norm, but we're here. The diseases and stuff are still amongst us. Folks still getting sick, whatever, but we're not going at the rate we were going, so let's not just try to pretend that didn't happen. You got some people who act like that. Like, why is it that even as I'm saying this right now, I feel a little trepidation about saying the word, because I'm being told that the algorithm, they hear the word, they say you're giving false information about that. That's a touchy topic. You can't talk about it anymore. Oh man, you really on some Big Brother 1984. Like, I can't even say the word? No, you can't even say the word. Well, goddamn. That's some serious stuff. So anyway, but when people got into rulership, there went all what we deal with. There go all of our biggest problems. And So the system that is in America where, yeah, anybody supposedly can make it, that's what folks get told. And everybody who's made it is quick to support the systematic concept of this is really the only place you can do that. The only place this, that, and the other. That's because they did it. Anybody who's done something, of course, they're going to say, hey, man, it worked for me. I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. This hand's still feeding me, so I'm not going to say anything bad about it. I'm not going to ever make it seem like it has holes in it. I'm going to say it's all good, and you can do it too. When the truth is, when you think about some people, not everybody, because everybody, everybody got choices. I always love that E40 song for its chorus. I don't so much like all the lyrics because it's, again, so much stuff that I don't directly relate to, that I know is on some street stuff that I can't get with. And then there's other stuff, street or not, that I relate to, that I can get with, that I'm cool with. But I love the chorus. Everybody got choices. Just that one part. Everybody got choices. Yup. Nope. Yup. Nope. That's A. And the beat be banging. I love that song. Anyway, so yeah, we all got choices, and in the choices, everybody can, you could be from the same worst environment and still not do the dirt that everybody, well, not everybody, that most of the masses seem to come out of these areas saying they did that dirt. Look at how many rappers came out of time when there was the introduction of crack cocaine and say that they dealt dope. Look at all the just off the top of my head, Jay-Z says he did crack. Whatchamacallit? I just watched his interview the other day on Club Shay Shay. Shout out to Joe. It's funny? I like Fat Joe as a personality. And I'm gonna say this about all these rappers. The reason why they won and they are what they are charismatic as all hell. They got charisma. I got charisma, so I know what charisma is. But the difference, man, their charisma, this is what I started to realize. I said, well, hell, I got plenty of charisma. People like me when they meet me. I don't care where they from. I mean, some hood person, guy, woman, whatever, old, young. I meet somebody rich. I meet somebody in the middle, financial. It don't matter. Everybody loves me when they meet me. Everybody likes me when they meet me. But the one big difference, though, when I meet somebody, I'm not coming at them with all my thoughts. I'm not going to share everything I'm thinking. Stuff like what I'm doing right now. You start getting into what you really think about stuff, now is when it's going to be the determining factor of whether somebody really digs what you about. Because people don't like to be confronted with truth. They want to be confronted with popular comfort. Not just comfortable topics, popular comfortable topics. If I say a lyric from a drug-infested song, the whole song talking about dealing dope, back in the day, Eazy-E, when he first came out, I always like to mention this because this was literally the beginning of gangster rap in terms of popularity. There are other quote-unquote gangster rappers who have a bigger message, which is why to this day I always love Ice-T. Ice-T always had a bigger message. He wasn't just a gangster rapper. He was a gangster rapper with a message. There's a difference. There's straight up just pure gangster rap, and then there's gangster rap with a message like, don't do this, but I'm gonna tell you how it goes. That was Ice-T. Eazy-E, when he came out, was a real D-boy. It was straight up gangster. This is how I'm living. This is what I do. Follow me if you want to be like me. And if you can't be like me, because you probably can't ever be like me, because I'm Eazy-E, I got bitches galore, and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to know the lyrics even if you didn't want to buy the album, because you heard it from kids walking down the hallway, cutting class, the bad kids, the worst of the bad kids, at my middle school, Southwest Middle School, okay? Back in the 80s when that mess first dropped, all the worst kids knew it by heart because they related to it. It's like, yo, this sound like where I'm at. This sound like what I see. For the rest of us, we didn't understand. If you were like me, I remember it took years of understanding and research to understand what was happening when crack hit the scene. We didn't understand the violence. Like, why are kids were always fighting and stuff, but like, why are they fighting all the time? Why is this like really, it's not just like a simple fight. It's like these folks trying to kill each other because there's money involved. because there's families involved, because there's drugs involved. Worst first beating I ever saw in middle school was some kids that weren't even from my school, came up to my school in middle school to jump some other kid, and they fighting all in the street, all over the cars, beating on each other on top of somebody's hood. The lady got out of her car and cussed them out and told them, get up off my car. A grown person trying to, like, what is this? And this is in the middle of a suburb, okay? This ain't in no rundown, rat-infested, look like a bomb hit it, the Bronx, New York, back in the late 70s and 80s, like I was just mentioning Fat Joe, because he said that in his, I knew that about history. I know my history, okay? I know the history of hip-hop. I know the history of my eras and how it influenced my lifetime. But I'm saying, when all of that was going on in the Bronx and stuff like that, no part, I don't care what anybody tell you, no part of Atlanta, Georgia looked like that at the same time as when that was happening in New York. There was some really rundown, horrible ghetto situations in Atlanta. Some poor housing areas, some rundown houses, some messed up plumbing, some all that, right? But I'm saying a shed that is roach and rat infested versus literally an abandoned high-rise that's open to all the elements with the coldest winters on the East Coast, and you got buildings that have been bombed literally by landlords that couldn't afford to keep them up and didn't care and just left that way, just bricks and just literally wasteland shit. You know what I'm saying? That was how that was. We didn't go through that. The worst of Atlanta didn't go through that. It got parts that got almost that bad in terms of the mentality, yes. But it didn't look that bad. It never got that bad, right? But at the same time, when all of that stuff started coming into town, when folks look, right, the same old story. People come back from wars, people lost jobs, can't find certain kind of jobs, can't find certain kind of work. Welfare system, the whole lot. If you know the system, you know how it goes. You know what. If you know the history, if you don't know, I'm giving you some cliff notes to look up. It ain't hard. You can start your research right here on YouTube University, looking at documentaries about hip hop, and it's the best of them gonna break down everything I'm talking about, verbatim. So this ain't strange to some people because they know it's real, right? But my problem is, so somebody coming out of what Fat Joe came up in, I kind of understand what fury led him to be who he was. He said in his interview, he talked about him being the one Puerto Rican kid in the area he was in, and most of his friends were black. And he's not a quote unquote, he's black Puerto Rican, but he ain't the dark black Puerto Rican. He's light skinned, light eyes, real different look. I'm sure he looked even more strange back, when he was a kid. They couldn't figure out what he was, probably. And he hung out with this black kid, and he talked about in the interview how some group of black kids didn't like him and wanted to jump him and beat him up every day. He was always having to fight his way home, and the black kid was usually on his side. But this day, the group that he knew, these guys, they'd said him, "You gonna either join in and help us, or we gonna beat your ass." So he was like, the dude helped him. His friend turned on him, and he said that's when Joe Crack was born. He said that's when all hell. So if you ain't seen it, I ain't gonna speak for him. Go watch the interview. Like I say, that's Fat Joe, Club Shay Shay. Watch it. It's a great interview. Great interview. But he talks about how that's what turned him so cold in his heart and made him feel like he couldn't trust nobody. Like he thought, man, the one friend I had that I felt like I could trust turned against me. And the one thing I was impressed with is he didn't make it a black thing, because he knew who he was to be, or he learned who he was over time to be Puerto Rican, to know that black is a part of his heritage. But he just realized how, how people can be divisive and split, and I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but I'm gonna go back to my phrase to make my point again. The cultures. Because if there was one culture, what happened to him as a kid it would have never happened. Because we all won, right? Why would y'all be beating up on each other? Why would y'all be doing that? Some stupid people stuff, that's why. People got mental issues, that's why. Literally have mental issues. And it's not being dealt with for where it really comes from in many ways. So that happened. But what irks me though is I understood the anguish, and I've had moments in my life where I know I could have I've been at crossroads, y'all. I've been at crossroads. I could have turned cold and been a whole other kind of dude because of just things I had access to being a part of or being around in Atlanta that I never fell prey to. Because I had a real dad at home. I had a real mom at home. I had a real family unit. I had real love. I had real understanding that, first of all, I ain't had the kind of parents just tell me you better not. And then when you do something wrong, they just come yell at you and that's it. Put you on some, spank you a little bit, put you on some punishment. No. My parents was like, I was afraid of my parents the way you should be. These kids, like they say these days, some parents say, yo, these kids ain't afraid of their parents. That's the problem. I was afraid of my parents. I understood. My mama would kill me. My mama, see, I said mama first, not even dad. I know my daddy kill me. My mama gonna kill me first. Then my daddy gonna wake me up and kill me again if I did some stupid ish. So when you know, when you know that, when you grew up the way I grew up, and then you know how much they're sacrificing to give you a great life, not even just a good life. You got a freaking great life. You live in a nice house. You got food. You got everything you need to be successful. All you gotta do is put your head to the books and get it right. You do the job. Everything worked for the way my mind, just a B. I was always a B student, always. If you added up all my scores, I'm not saying I always made A's and B's. You to be that, you still gotta hit some. Yeah, y'all. So, yeah. I think how men and women have a struggle to relate. And of course, there is no such thing as divorce. It's frowned upon. If it weren't frowned upon in those cultures, you would see the numbers would probably be the same across the globe with the concept of marriage. Not to say I'm against it. I just don't think it should be championed the way it is. The way people act like it's expected. Like that's all of that is marriage and children existence. Visual finding one's purpose and fulfilling your destiny. It's everyone's objective. That unfortunately most people don't recognize that to be the whole meaning of life. Like, what is a life if you're not living it? And to me, truly living a life is, first of all, you got to find out you got to know your purpose, and that could be many things, and then you fulfill that, and that leaves a legacy. And that right there will teach people for ages, whether you had kids or not, because the whole point of, to me, having children is to teach another generation to continue to be productive, responsible, respectful, productive individuals, great people in the world that contribute to the existence of what it is to live. If you're not bettering other people's ability to find their purpose and live their best legacy, you ain't got no point. That's my philosophy. Views, opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of ONYXCON's affiliates, associates, sponsors, etc. But I said what I said. Hope you love it. So, getting back to the frustrating side of all that. When I was talking about all the rappers and stuff of my generation's younger generation, when I was younger, to know what I saw happen with the crack era and the effects of drugs and gangs and all that stuff, and how so many parts of that have just become pop culture now. It's not even, which even as that happened, I studied all this stuff, okay? Because I was never one who was just like, I don't know why they acting like this, what's going on? No, I went to the library. I was like a detective researching a case. I wanted to know why is this happening? What's behind this? Then imagine now, there's a little kid. When I make my movie, it's gonna be a fun scene when they show me go to that library. It's gonna be like, man, he was like Sherlock Holmes in 6th grade, going to his connection to get his intel. I had a guy who was the head librarian at my local library, and he knew me by name, and knew my family and everything. And he was always amazed by me because I researched like a college kid would. I didn't think of it like that then, but when I got older, I realized, man, the kind of research I was doing, that's like the kind of stuff people do to write a thesis. But I was in 6th grade doing that, and didn't think nothing of it, because all I cared about was just finding. I wanted to dig till I got the answer. I didn't care about how it was perceived or anything. And it was homework for myself on top of whatever other homework I had. I would have had a book report due or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, whatever, but I'm gonna do this here because I want to know about this. I gave myself my own assignment, so to speak, to find out about these things. And in doing so, I started to learn about the history of wars and why gangs get created in the first place, and drugs, and why they are so addictive, and why they are used to control populations and keep people enslaved and under the finger of some corrupt situations with governments and on and on. Oh yeah. And everything I was researching then, you can find in a documentary now. It ain't even, they don't even hide it. They just act like nowadays the new excuse is it's the statute of limitation situation, which is the other part that I'm gonna get into. But that statute of limitations law that says, basically in so many words, I'm not reading it verbatim because I don't know it verbatim, but I just know what it means. Wow, you're gonna really stop in the middle of the road. Wow. You are going to a special place in traffic hell. If y'all could have saw what I just did, what I had to hit brakes for. Anyway, wow. But I was saying, you realize, I had to get my thoughts out to that. I had to get my thoughts, y'all. That was a moment. This fool literally was coming off an exit ramp and started to come across, making a left in front of me in the right lane coming. And there's no car blocking them, but they just pause in the middle of the street instead of continuing their turn. Oh gosh. And I got cars behind me too. Of course, I'm still hitting brakes, but I'm thinking, oh boy. Anyway. So now I was doing research on wanting to know why things are the way they are at a young age. And it gave me the empathy, but it also gave me the disgust once I realized that still everything is choices. Because I would see time and time again generationally where there would be enough voices to counter the voice that says, oh, you're in a tough situation, so folks are frustrated, so they end up doing crime and all this other stuff, and it ought to be excused because they were in a tough place. I mean, and then every criminal, when they get to another place where they can clean their money, clean up their identity, be a certain kind of person in society, and they're not looked at like that no more, they're doing something legit, whatever, they always want to talk about when they were doing crime like it wasn't that bad. Whatever they were doing was not that bad. All the crack dealers want to say, I dealt a little crack. How do you deal a little crack? The hell you talking about? There ain't no little crack. One thing of crack, they say crack was so addictive, one hit would keep people addicted till they were dead. And we all know, or should know, it should be easy to understand how many folk met their demise because of that drug. So when you're talking about you dealt a little, I just dealt a little. What? Then you got the ones that want to be like, I sold a little, of whatever else. That it's all this criminal stuff that was going on. It's still going on. This ain't nothing. It's still going on. But I'm talking about how it was then and how bad it was then. How vicious, how extra vicious it was then. Right? And they want to normalize it. That's my biggest disgust when you say, okay, so let me get this straight, right? Like I said, I'm the kid who never dealt the drugs, never dealt the gang, never got no damn gang, never dealt no drugs. Had all this stuff around, but I also had scholars around me. I also had people who were not about that life. I also had people so I had every reason not to think that's the only way, the only lane, right? And that ain't changed even for a lot of these kids now. Like when I was just talking about my high school and how it's changed so much, these kids got a brand new school. They rebuilt Mays High School around the time, years before the show Quantum came out. The reason I know that and use that as a marker always in history, because I'm in the film biz, and when that show came out, I'll never forget, I went to visit my old school, and then I did a talk with the art class there, and I was so disappointed seeing how these kids were so blasé about me even being there and giving them a pep talk about what it is to be an artist and live that life and on and on. A few of them were into it. Let's say it was a class of 20 and only about 2 of them was really intrigued. But I was ready to slap all the rest of them little knuckleheads because I thought to myself, y'all sitting in a freaking palace. Like, this thing is gorgeous, right? The film biz understands it's gorgeous. They used it as a prop, as a freaking setting for FBI, CIA-based show. The show is about CIA training, at least the first episodes are, or whatever, the first season. And so when I found out that was my old high school, of course I was proud for that, but at the same time, I was disgusted because I'm thinking, I saw kids with dropping trash in the hallway when the bell would ring, heard more, man, I mean, yeah. Kids were kids when I was in school. I'm not trying to make it like everybody was no saint and people didn't talk trash and say crazy stuff when the bell ring and everybody in the hallway. But let me tell you something. When we were passing by teachers at a door or whatever, and I ain't gonna just say we, because I wasn't the thuggish kid, but I'm saying the thuggish kids of my time didn't cuss to the point where when they walking past them teachers they knew would beat their ass. They shut up. They'd be like, oh, Miss, or if they got caught, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, Miss So-and-so. Miss So-and-so already smacking them on the ass with a paddle or something, because that's the kind of people they were. They didn't take that ish. Like I say, we need that back. That's the problem. As they say, they got too weak out here. All these rules about you can't hit the kids, you get mad. How about the kids? If the kids hitting the teachers and bringing guns to school, man, bust them in their goddamn head to the white meat show like Bernie Mac used to say. Bust you upside your head to the white meat show. If you don't know what it means, go look it up. It's real. That's what they need. That's what they need. Yo, you gonna get scared. You gonna realize you ain't tough. You gonna realize your teachers came from tougher times than you. They just done chilled the hell out, got in jail for killing no kid. That's the only damn reason some of them teachers ain't choked somebody out. Some of the, every coach I ever, man, there was a coach at our school. He was a Vietnam vet, and all respect due. He was so intense, and people took it for granted because the man had been through true combat. And I'll never forget, some kids thought they were gonna get in a fight one day in the damn lunchroom, and he goes to break it up. And one of the boys called himself, while he holding them apart, gonna swing on the coach. Coach picked that little boy up like he was a damn, like a puppy, and smashed him through a door. And it took like 3 other teachers to come through the hallway. None of us could see it because it, went off camera by that point, so to speak, to get him off that motherfucker. Because he was going to kill that little boy. Like, you want to be a man? You going to find out today. You want to test a man? You going to find out today. You going to learn today. And I never forgot that because I thought as I got older, I mean, it was cool then, to be honest, and it got cooler as I got older because I said, that's what they need. That's the problem. They ain't got no teachers like that no more. They ain't got nobody like that to let these kids know, man, don't do it. Don't do it. You gonna respect, you gonna have some respect over here. I don't care what's going on at home. I don't care who don't love you at home. You gonna love somebody here. You gonna act right here, or this might be it. This might be it. We ain't gonna have to worry about it. You're gonna end up in jail. You ain't gonna make it to jail. You ain't gonna make it to jail. We had them kind of folk up in the school. It made a difference, y'all. It made a difference. Man, woman too. There was some women like that. There was a little sawed-off short lady. I forget her name. Man, she was so hardcore. Kids was afraid of her, and I loved it. Because it's like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I had a tutor, a math tutor, because I was horrible at math. I hated math. I hated math. And my mama was putting me through some tutoring, and I was in Wildwood. Anybody know Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about. Down from May. Wildwood was notorious for drugs and all kind of nonsense going on. They had a gang named after the place, Wildwood Boys. Not a gang like you hear about LA gangs and all that kind of stuff. It was just a local in the apartments type of thing, like most Atlanta stuff. Okay? And dealing and carrying on, and they get loud and talking their ish. And she could hear while she was in there trying to get me through the lesson or whatever homework. She'd come to the door and cuss all of them out and run them away. And when none of them talk back to her, I'll be talking that, we'll kill you, the hell you will. You ain't about to touch her because she beat up on her. It's like, no, And it was just general respect. Like, that was that era where they still be like, I'm sorry, Miss Such and Such. I'm sorry. Okay, all right, then. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna be out here. All right, I forgot I'm sorry. You know? And then to make it scary, though, she would tell him, I'm in here with my student. I'm like, oh, damn, don't bring me into it. I got to walk to my mama car. It ain't a far walk, but I don't want them looking at me like, you the reason why we got to be quiet, man. Hey, man, I'm just here to get my lesson. But then nobody ever messed with me when I was over there, you know. And didn't nobody ever mess with us. But it was just a different era. That's what I'm saying about a lot of this stuff. But the real bottom line, though, y'all, the real bottom line that I've been trying to get to, the real bottom line. The real bottom line that I've been aiming at since I started this is the frustration of those of us who didn't do none of the dirt, had to deal with the results of the dirt around us, looking and seeing people who did all that back then and they doing great now. That's getting old as I get old. That's getting real. I'm gonna have to do this is a live, but I'm gonna have to do an official video where I talk about just that. And I've been wanting to talk about, I've talked about it briefly in other videos, but I'm talking about, well, that's just the one topic. Like, it doesn't make sense that a drug dealer who says they dealt drugs, who says they shot at people, probably killed people, everything, right, can be a millionaire. And I'm still around here with student loans I can't pay. Still around here with credit card debt I'm worried about and can't pay monthly almost. Still trying to figure out my next move as I'm doing it. But yes, I have traveled. Yes, I am traveling. But it's always a dilemma versus you see these former drug dealers and stuff bragging about taking trips all over the world, and some of them have been to jail, get out, and still got a good life. And I'm just like, make no damn sense. But then it starts making sense. I say, well, why? Because the system itself relate to the gangsterism, or they want to pretend they could ever be that. So they like it, they love it. And the pain that produced the gangsterism, whether they became a gangster or not, if they come from that downtrodden lower frequency, they relate to that. So that's why it's popular. That's why it keeps selling. That's why everybody over here on the other side of it saying, yo, we want you to live better, eat better, do everything better. That's why we just start getting fed up and be like, bump it, man. I guess I need to be ratchet or something like, but then you can't. You got to always be yourself, because when you start feeling that way, you got to remember, you are the unicorn. You are the unicorn. You are the one example amongst many. There's others like you, but y'all got to be a nation. Y'all got to find each other, because you really are the ultimate minority. You don't fit into any one bag. You're not claiming any one religion or anything. And that's another part of it too. We're gonna talk. So as I was saying, so the biggest, and then I mentioned religion, because I'm not religious. Okay, I grew up in the Deep South, from Atlanta. For those who know by now, you should know from everything I've ever said or what I've been saying just in this talk. It's the first time you ever hear me speak. And I never tried to, I don't like to say the word never. I try not to sway people to the way I am about religion, because I'm not religious. I just simply say, yo, but once I define the fact I'm not, and if I know that someone is, my main determining factor as to whether or not we're going to be good friends or close enough to be associates is if I feel that they're going to start trying to persuade me to join their religion. Because some people literally feel like their purpose in being religious is to get other people to join the club. They want people to be whatever they are. And I've dealt with that at different times in my life. I've even had folks who I did respect as friends who were in their own covert ways trying to get me to be whatever. And I'm talking about especially Christians, because they be the number one culprit of that, I found. And I had one Muslim friend who was on that tip one time. I knew that's what he was trying to do as we became buddies or whatever. because he was a martial artist, and once he told me he did all that, I wanted to learn some stuff from him, so we started training. And in the midst of our training, he always wanted to, you know, take a moment, do a prayer, whatever. And I had no problem with that. I was like, cool, you know, respect. And I think he was fascinated with the fact that none of that ever put me out, because for most people, you know, it's just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not a part of your thing. So why are you trying to get me? I didn't care. It's like, whatever. I respect that's you. You know what I mean? And if you want to bless me, I'll take a blessing from anybody. You know, if the energy is good, I'm receiving it. Anybody who want to pray over me, pray for me, I'm receiving it. That's energy. You know, and that's what a lot of religious people, some religious people understand that, others don't. They truly do respect that. Some respect that, yo, it doesn't matter if someone is of one religion or another. They'll say we're all praying to the same God. Well, and some of them don't even say that. They just say whatever energy, whatever it is you pray to, it's all the same energy or source. Those are the ones I know I can be friends with, because they're not even putting the word God on it every time. Like, they really got to spice it with this concept of a male energy, because that's another thing about it that I always challenge. A lot of people don't know etymology. They just say words and never look up the meaning. And then when they get the meaning, they still be defiant about it because of how it was brought to them first. Whatever they became comfortable with, they can't let go of. They can't evolve. They get stuck. They're like, you know, I grew up this way. This is what I was told, and I'm not trying to shake it, or evolve it, or change it. It's like, why not? Like, if it makes sense to add something else to it, no, it's perfect as it is. Okay, right, okay. This is the end all be all. That's right, the nigga. Okay, there we go. Never mind. So if folk get on that about it, we done. And what cracks me up about people like that too is, I think to myself, do you travel? And someone be like, yeah. I'd be like, how's your experience when you travel, and where do you go? Because if you go into places where people have other beliefs, I'm pretty sure you have a really hard time there. If your whole identity is wrapped up in your religion to the point you can't talk to nobody without bringing up religion, or trying to get them to show that they're on the same page as you with religion, because otherwise you don't feel comfortable around people. Some people are like that. I don't like people like that. I like people who can be dealing with anybody, any religion, don't give a damn. Non-religious, atheists, none of that just don't even bother them. They just say, whatever. What I do with my religion is for me. Those kind of people I can deal. I can always respect people who are on that. Like, this is for me. It's a personal relationship with whatever that energy is to them. I respect that. But what I don't respect is when they try and push it on everybody else. So in the push it on everybody else club, there's another thing I've learned about those who be successful, who may come from real shady backgrounds, all kind of criminal element, all kind of ratchet attitude and energy, and all kind of devilishment, as they say, okay? Which is a whole nother word. I don't even have time to get into that one on this one, but you know, even the concept of devil and all that is antiquated. But anyway, when they go there, I'll be laughing. I'll be like, man, it's like the old joke people used to make many, many years ago, and they don't even say it as much no more. I think people have forgot that joke now, but they would talk about rappers on award shows after the gangster rapper get up there to accept an award. Not the rapper who talking about something conscious, but the straight up gangster, just pure gangster rap, right? And the first thing out their mouth, I want to thank God. God almighty. Every time. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. That is another one of the reasons why I got such a big issue with the hypocrisy of some people, not everybody. I said the word some. So if it's not you, I ain't talking about you, right? But some people's way about religion and stuff, like, they think that religion's just like this, they use it like this get out of jail free card in Monopoly. You play in Monopoly and they got a get out of jail free card. It's like anytime they do something they know ain't right, ain't worthy of nothing positive, nothing about it's progressive, nothing about it is all low frequency and ugly energy. As soon as somebody criticizes them about it, the first thing they're gonna pull out, well, you know, only one who can judge me is my God. Only God can judge me. They pull out their little get out of bullshit card. I done got into some BS. I did it. I know I'm wrong. Oh, only one who can judge me. Man, if you don't, well, I'll tell you what. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You touch me or mine, you're going to find out about what the word really means. Anyway, it's messed up, and I don't like that. And it's going on and on and on, generation per generation, because it's comfortable. It's comforting to know, and then I'm realizing that, like I say, birds of a feather. I used to get frustrated, and I started learning. I said, man, this thing is bigger than I ever could have thought it would be. I deal with any and everybody, but when it comes down to, you wonder why there's certain gates kept and everything, because people know where you stand, and they know you're not going to do the dirt that they do. They know you're going to want to leave the party early when they want to do their dirty dirt. All right, so you might not even be invited because they're gonna do their dirty dirt. You know what I'm saying? And they still want to get up and go to church on Sunday and pray it off, because they really believe that that's all pray offable. I thought they had done all hellion. Quick ultimate example of recent events: Sean Diddy, Puffy Combs. Good gosh almighty! Look at all the nonsense and insanity, absolute day by day stacked layers of trash that this person did. Just absolute, the definition of what so-called Christians call sinning. This dude is the definition, okay? The dirt he has done, the things he's done, the abuse to women, sex trade stuff going on, all kinds of molestation charges and craziness to this dude. And what was the number one thing that P. Diddy always did in a public setting, or what we have around his neck, was a damn crucifix, and always yelling about Jesus and Christ and God. See, that's so sick of them, man. I'm so sick of them. I just wish they would leave that part alone. Just do your dirty dirt and stop trying to tie it to any religion. Because I know too many real ones. I know real Christians that are genuine, beautiful, honest, loving, ethical, responsible, respectful, still human, still do fun things and all kind of naughtiness, but they do it within reason of human activity, okay? But they ain't out here hurting nobody to get their kicks, and they ain't out here abusing nobody to get their kicks. They ain't out here taking advantage of nobody. They ain't not dealing with nobody underage. They're not doing none of that. They real deal people. And they just happen to be Christians, because I don't attribute that to being a Christian. It's just they good people. They happen to be Christians. So I hate when these false folk, these fake ones, out here do any and everything, and then got the audacity to tie it all to, you know why, right? Because God gave me this, and I'm supposed to have all of this glory. See, that's when it gets really twisted for me. Because then I'm like, well, damn, if that's the case, that'll have somebody asking, like, wait a minute now, what side of everything am I supposed to be on if all these folk get to prosper like on this level? Sometimes the dirt hits and the skeletons come out the closet, like what's going on with Diddy. But how many other folk, we'll never know. We'll never know, because they was at the party. And they stayed for the baby oil sessions and all that nonsense. We'll never know. And then we gonna know some more, because if enough ish hits the fan, and certain ones in that circle of deviancy want to allocate each other because they jealous, or somebody's trying to take somebody out to take their place on the field and take over their resources, or not, maybe trying to get them to do something for years and they couldn't get them no other way. They'll figure out a way to get them through that. So, oh yeah, let me throw them into the fire, whatever. But it won't be long. It won't be many. He's the fall guy. He's the fall guy for now. There will be others, but if you look at history, there's usually, when there could have been 200 people at the party, there may be only 2 that go down for the crime. That's just how ugly it is. Why? Because the other 200 plus them 2 that did go down, they all in the same club, y'all. It's the same mentality. It's one big mentality. And that's my problem with it all, is that for everybody else who never wanted to be part of none of all that. We got this uphill battle just to get the basics. Just to get the basics, y'all. Just to be comfortable. Hell with rich, just stay comfortable. Stay comfortable and able to do what anybody would want to be able to do being from the nation we're from and all the so-called prosperity it's supposed to be affording us, just by being where we're at, and by having, if you did the things that I'm talking about that do apply to this other level of lifestyle, of living well and having things and enjoying your life and doing what you can all the time when you want to with your family and friends, and just enjoying life for real. You know, like I said, not even the rich level, just this six-figure dream that everybody's obsessed with these days. Since they've made it, the system has created a way now, even with inflation, where you damn near have to have 100,000 as a living wage, a household wage, to enjoy. Now, you can get by, but do you want to really enjoy life? You got to be six figures. Well, shit, we already know how many black men alone, just black men, make that much money. There's only but 1%, less than 1%. That don't make no sense. That don't make no kind of sense. You know, because even after you get past that 1%, you're not just talking about the six figures anymore. You can add in the millionaires and the few billionaires. They all in that category of that 1%. Everybody else is on some, yeah, they might be flossing and acting like they all good, but hey, you better believe they checking their bank statement daily, wondering, is this the month? That $500 emergency makes me another statistic, because that is a statistic in America. Most Americans are not ready, and that means anybody, no black, white, Asian, Latin, don't matter what. In America, they say the average American citizen is not ready for a $500 emergency. The average. When you really put that in perspective, people, when you really put that in perspective, it adds into everything else I'm talking about here, and it starts getting real serious. So anyway, I done made my other points. I tell you how to vote, but you need to vote. Because I know who I'm with. I ain't got no problem saying who I'm with. That ain't got, I can't tell you who to vote for. I can just tell you I know who I voted for. And I know she makes a lot more sense to me. That's all I'm saying. Y'all do what you will with it. But I hope all my strivers and winners and artists don't give up. Because we need to find each other. We the unicorns. All the unicorns need to band together. We need to create a unit of our own, an understanding of our own, where it's an unsaid respect, support each other. When we find each other in these environments, we instantly follow each other. We instantly back each other. We give each other respect because we understand how hard it is to do what we do. We understand we are a minority just in the way we are as thinkers. We're different. And that needs to be respected and acknowledged amongst those who live that art life. Leaving you with that. Again, I'm Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Views and opinions expressed did not necessarily reflect those of all of ONYXCON's affiliates, sponsors, associates, etc. But for those it does, I appreciate y'all, my monetization nation. Holla.